It felt so horrible. Please give me anything to sleep. It was the fact that I had to go home and my baby was not there with me. Hi my loves, welcome back to my YouTube channel. It's been a second, it's been a minute, you guys. I know I was away for a while and your girl is back. I'm not going anywhere again by the special grace of God, and depending on when you're watching this video, I'm exactly 5 weeks postpartum. It has been a journey. For the first time ever, I wanted to share what my journey was like this particular pregnancy, because it was definitely one of a kind. The reason why I'm sharing it because I asked God in the middle of my pain, in the middle of everything I was going through in the last of weeks, that I was going to share this story to motivate someone, to inspire someone, and also to share the grace of God, because I'm not about to keep with to me what God did for me this period. It was one journey that I didn't see coming, and God has the upper hand at the end of the day, so I'm not going to shy away from sharing the testimony with you guys. I was pregnant. I've been pregnant pretty much the whole of 2023, and I just had my baby. I'm going to be using the L'Oreal True Match foundation. I'm going to be using this beauty sponge from Mirac Cosmetics. I have always wanted 3 kids, right? My son is 1 year and 10 months, right? My older daughter is 6 years. I'm going to be using the NYX Can't Stop Won't Stop concealer. I was supposed to be due sometime in December. I was supposed to be pregnant, but God had a different plan, which is the reason why this particular story to share, for multiple reasons, to share the lessons that I learned from it, and also you know, just kind of like I just know that I've told God that whenever he does something for me, which I mean every day is a miracle, but whenever he does something for me and puts it in my spirit to share it, I'm going to share it. If you've been following me for a long time, you would know how much I am anti sharing personal information and stuff like that. But there comes a time in your life when you feel or you realize that God wants you to do things differently, and I'm at that place where all I'm about is obedience to whatever the instruction God has given me is for my life. So my EDD was meant to be December 15th, which is still ahead of the time I'm filming this. When I was 33 weeks pregnant, I'm using the Huda Beauty foundation stick. When I was 33 weeks pregnant, on a Saturday, I will never forget, I was going upstairs in my house and I slipped on the staircase and I fell. When I fell, I was okay. I mean, of course, there was some pain at that time, but then in another 2 days, I realized that I was not feeling well anymore. I was feeling sick. I don't know if the fall was the reason why I was feeling sick, but what matters is that I was feeling sick, and I was taken to the hospital and my baby was being monitored. They told me that baby's heartbeat was dropping and that they needed to bring out the baby. My baby was 33 weeks at the time, that the heartbeat was dropping, because I mean that the more I'm not feeling strong, the more it's affecting the baby. There's nothing I didn't do. I remember, you know, this was around maybe 3 p.m. and I told them, please, can you guys just monitor the baby a little bit further? I spoke to my husband and we agreed that we were going to, you know, give him more time, because I was asking them, is there like any emergent, like any need to bring out the baby right now? They said no, but that the baby needed to be brought out today, right? So I was just, I mean, this is just us coming to hospital for just check me, know what is wrong with me kind of visit. And then from there, I'm realizing that, you know, they're telling me this kind of story. Nothing was making sense, nothing was adding up. But then, you know, I was already at that place where I had prayed about this pregnancy so much that a part of me was at peace with whatever ended up being the decision, you know. But I mean, I'm still human, and I'm using the Charlotte Tilbury pressed powder. I'm human, and there's still that part of me that is like, oh, this is not, you know, this is not happening. Why is this happening to me? You know, and I was reminded that I read the word, and I was reminded that, you know, God would allow certain things. Sometimes you may not understand it the way, you know, from your own human standpoint. I remember being so down and everything, and I'm like asking God, I thought we had an agreement with this pregnancy. Why am I having my baby early? The doctors eventually came and they told me, oh, that I should not worry, that my baby is already 33 weeks and to an extent should be in a safe place in terms of like coming out safe. I'm using the Milani blush in the shade Chick Kiss. I'm just going to use that to warm up my cheeks just a little bit. So I remember the doctor telling me, oh, don't worry, that your baby is not your baby is past 32 weeks, so to an extent the risk is less. But I was still, very much worried about the entire thing. Why is this happening to me? I remember questioning myself. A part of me will be strong this moment, and then the next second I see myself asking so many questions. Like I didn't ever think that anything like that would happen to me, and that is the reality of life. So I'm using the one size setting powder to set my face. So fast forward to a couple of hours later, the doctor came back. Oh, you guys need to make a decision. We need to bring out this baby. The heartbeat is still not stable and we're not comfortable, And I remember my husband saying, oh babe, we have to just go ahead, everything will be fine. And this was around, should I say, like around 9 p.m. in the evening. And I was trying to buy time. For some reasons I wanted to pray at midnight. I wanted to hang in there till 12 midnight to pray. And I asked the doctor, is it going to be possible that we hang there just till past midnight? Let me see if I can pray. The doctor was like, oh, that's such the time difference between when I'm asking for this and the midnight is too much, that they are not going to be able to wait that long. I mean, speaking from their medical standpoint, but I mean, they cannot force me. I'm using my Tulsi pencil in the shade dark brown. So I remember the doctor saying, oh, we cannot force you, but then we're just telling you from a medical standpoint that this is not a good idea to keep waiting for this baby to be brought out past midnight. So I told the doctor I just needed some time, and she kept on telling me that we've been here on this matter for a while, so you need to make a decision. And I remember so well, I was so devastated that I was just asking, okay, fine, we're not going to wait past midnight, but can I just have at least an hour to myself? This whole thing happened so fast. Like this moment, I'm coming in as just a sick person who was just hoping to get some medical, just maybe get some something that will be given to me to help me feel better. I didn't know that this, as at the time, because in my head, EDD is still how many weeks away. Like I know that I will not reach the EDD, based on my history with my other kids, but at least till 36, 37, 38 weeks, I was at least expecting that I still had some time, right? So fast forward to the next thing, they were like, oh, so the doctor now came back again and now told me that, oh, that they have another patient, another pregnant woman who needed an urgent CS, if I'm not ready, they will have to go ahead with that person. I was very glad to tell them, please go ahead, just go ahead. I still need to, sort in my prayers. I just wanted to pray, and I wanted to get to that place where I'm at peace with the whole thing. I wanted to pray, and I wanted God to give me that peace. I didn't want to just go. I mean, I've not had CS before. My first 2 pregnancies were normal vaginal delivery. So coming to suddenly tell me that I am going to be having CS that was not planned. A lot of, all the people I know that had CS, everyone I know were told, oh, you're going to have CS, or they chose to have CS, and they kind of planned and carried their load to the hospital. I was not in that situation. I never imagined in my life that I'll have CS. It's not like there's anything wrong with it, but at least mentally I wanted to be prepared if that was the fate that I was going to be facing. So when this whole thing happened, and she told me that, oh, there's another woman that they needed to do emergency CS on, that if I'm not ready, they will go ahead. I was very glad, because that was the 1 hour, because she told me it would take 1 hour. I'm like, oh God, I see you. I prayed and I felt at peace, right? I felt at peace. I felt that, oh, God is with me. There was just that peace that came with the prayer that I said. So the moment the doctor came back, they took me back into the to the room where they would prepare me for the CS. And I remember being so afraid, and I haven't been in this thing ever, and this whole thing makes me so emotional, you guys. But this is a promise I made to God, so I'm going to keep it. I'm going to tell this whole story, and I'm going to end this session or this video by giving glory to God openly, and that's what our God deserves. I'm not going to hide what He did for me under the carpet. I'm not going to sweep it under the carpet. I'm going to talk about it. They took me to the room, prepared me for CS, and and then eventually, I finished praying. The nurses came. It was like 1 hour had gone already. They came and they took me to the theater. Started preparing the whole thing. I'm going to pop up pictures. From the sickness, I was already very, very drained. I was still sick at this time. Remember, I came into the hospital sick, and the same day all of this is happening. I was already very drained. I was struggling to be okay with my own self. And now they already wrote the whole form where you have to sign consent and all of that. And then I was in the theater. They told my husband he had to wait outside until they were done with the whole injections, anesthesia, all those things. I don't know what they call it, but those injections that will help to numb you. After everything, they started doing the injection. When they gave me the injection, I was wondering, why am I taking 6 shots? Like, they would put, I think it was the same dose, but then maybe they had to do it multiple times, because I remember I took that injection up to 6 times on my spine, my lower spine. And the pain I went through during the injection part was not even anything compared to how I felt after they had given the injection. I couldn't understand how my legs were feeling. I know they said, oh, don't worry, your legs will feel numb, but it felt so horrible. I don't think there are words to express how it felt. I don't know whether my own was that bad because of how, the fact I was already sick. It felt so horrible. I remember begging the anesthesiologist, like, please, is there anything you can give me? Just please give me anything to sleep. I know they don't do that anymore, but that's how bad it was. I couldn't move my leg. You know your legs are there, but I couldn't move my leg. Like, I couldn't feel my legs. Like, I know my legs are there. It's a different thing if you know your legs are not there. You get, like, it was such a feeling. It was so horrible. And my husband was still outside. They told him to come in to, stay by my side and everything. So when he came in, I was in so much pain. Oh God, I don't think there is anything, like, when I think of it, I've been through different things in life, but this last few weeks was by far the most difficult period of my entire life. And I'm just grateful for how it turned out. I'm just grateful for how it turned out. I'm just grateful that at the end of the day I can tell this story and the glory is being returned to God, and nobody could help me. I mean, the doctors are there, the nurses are there, your husband can only hold your hand. Nobody could. I couldn't express the way I was feeling. And I remember telling my husband, baby, please play me I Get Back In. I played I Get Back In. I played Gyre.
I will be content in every circumstance. You are Gyre. You are enough.
The drugs and the injections they give me, I was shivering. Like, I was shaking so badly that I was biting myself like somebody that was having a seizure. I remember tapping the anesthesiologist next to me and I was like, please, I'm shaking so badly. And she said it's normal, that is just the effect, that some people have it worse than others. I was shaking, like I was like, that's how bad I was shaking. I remember trying to still say the words of the song because I needed something to give me strength. In my rosary, I remember praying, telling Mother Mary, please take this pain away. Please help me talk to Jesus to take this pain away. I don't know if Jesus was not hearing me in that moment because I needed anything to just help me come away from how I was feeling in that moment. So luckily, after everything, I could hear my baby cry. They brought out the baby. Baby was okay, but for so many reasons, I had a flu. I was not well. There were so many complications with my own health that they said I couldn't hold the baby. I couldn't see the baby until they had cleared me safe to hold the baby. And you guys, you have no idea how badly I felt. Nothing was worse than knowing that my baby was with me in the same room and I couldn't hold her. And so they told me that they had to take her to the NICU. NICU is the full term is neonatal intensive care unit, which is pretty much where they keep newborns who needed to have more extra care, maybe oxygen and everything. I saw when they brought in all the oxygens and they put my baby on the oxygen. I couldn't see her, but I could see, like, when you're seeing things happening, like I could see the doctors and nurses. And then I don't know whether I looked away or not before I knew they were gone. So I didn't even see my baby. I didn't know what she looked like. I couldn't hold her and all of that. So, and then they now took me back after the whole thing to the recovery room. So that was where I was. The pain was so bad. People that do CS, I don't know if they are used to it by now. Maybe people have done multiple. But the pain I felt through the whole being sick, the weakness, I was so weak before the surgery. Most of it I couldn't walk. Somebody needed to hold me, And then now being in recovery, I remember the first time I tried to go to pee, I was in so much pain. Like, the pain, I couldn't understand how someone could be in that amount of pain. The most difficult part of it for me was not even everything that I went through. It was the fact that I had to go home and my baby was not there with me. And I came on here very bubbly. I didn't know I would still break down when I talk about this, but it was the fact that I had to go home, and I go home and my baby was not there with me, and I had to, get used to knowing that she was in the NICU because she needed to stay there for a couple of weeks before she could come home. So, and I couldn't go to see her. It could have been better if I could go to see her, but it needed me to be cleared health-wise before I could be allowed to go see her. So I went back to, so I started trying to produce milk, and guys, like, I couldn't produce milk. I remember them telling me, that they would give my baby donor milk. So donor milk is like, for those who have no idea what that is, donor milk is like another woman's milk. Here in Canada, these things are normal, but being that I'm African, I can't imagine my head like another woman's milk being fed to my baby. That's just me. I remember them calling me over and over that if the baby does not accept formula, that they will have to give her donor milk. That is like, so they want you to make a decision, because most women going through that pain cannot produce milk immediately, right? So this is the reason why they have spare donor milk in the hospital. So they were trying to convince me that, don't worry, the milk has been tested, it's safe, like, no, don't give my baby someone else's milk. Don't give my baby. That was just how bad it was. But they were trying to, at some point, and I realized that, see, they're not even taking your permission. Just pray as you're there forming Badu. Just pray that your baby accepts formula pending when you start producing milk. Because if your baby does not accept formula and you are not producing milk, they would give your baby donor milk. Remember, your baby is in their care. Yes, you have a say, but your baby's life is in their care. So it's not about you and your emotions. I remember begging God, please give me milk. Give me milk. So badly I was begging God, give me milk. I was going through so much. I had to wake up multiple times in the night to pump milk. The pain was so much. I would cry every night. I remember when I'm trying to stand from the bed, sometimes it could take as much as 5 minutes because you would turn like this, the pain would hit you. At the time I started having engorged breast. I'm very busty. I was having blocked ducts. It means that some ducts that produce milk will not be able to bring out milk because they are blocked. Engorgement is such that you just do all those things did not work for me. It was making it worse. All the warm bath, warm this one, warm that one, it did not work. And it's when I'll be up to pump and I'll be in so much pain. I was already so low. There was a night I was having fever from the pain. I was in so much pain. I was emotionally drained. I was mentally drained. I was in physical pain that I could not understand. There was nothing that was not wrong with me in that instance. And remember, I have 2 other kids that I was also thinking about. It was tough, you guys. It was really, really tough. And that was the time that I made the promise to God that, God, if you take away this pain earlier than the doctors are saying it would take, that I promise you I'll come and I'll openly share the story and just use it to let everyone know how good of a God that you are. And most nights I'll listen to Joshua Selman, I'll listen to Stephanie K, I'll listen to their prayers, and for some reasons some of those words kept me going. It was now for us to start seeing my child, but then remember, like I said, I couldn't see her at that time. I needed to wait for my husband to go, and then they would do a video call with me. First time I saw her, she was having the oxygen in her nose. God, it was so hard. It was so hard. She had the oxygen in her nose, and then she was just so little, and I was feeling so helpless because I'm just like, I should be here with you. I remember feeling to myself that, I should be there with her. She needs me. I'm her mom. But then, the law is the law. The medical law is medical law. If they have a protocol, a policy, there's nothing you can do. I was telling God that, please, I'm begging you, please, I need to see my baby. Can you just make this stay? Because they couldn't tell me. They were saying, that I had to wait until I was totally clear. Even when I was feeling better, I wasn't feeling anything again, but they were still saying I needed to wait some days to be sure that everything in my system was cleared. I don't blame them for doing their job, but when you're being affected, it hurts. They won't pass. And I asked them, how long will it take? They said it could take up to 10 days, after you don't have symptoms, just to be sure. I said, 10 days, how many days is not? Like, how can I leave my child there for 10 days. I just, did a lot of going back to God to just say, please just make an exception for me, make an exception for me. Day 4, they told me that, that I could come and see my child the next day. Oh my God, I was so happy because my husband had been going alone. I was, waking up every night to pump, to send, to them, to baby at the hospital. I was very, very intentional about the whole thing. I was just very, I was so excited. I remember curling my hair. It felt like I was going on a date. It felt like I was going on a date. I remember curling my hair, dressing up good. In the pain, I was still in this pain. And then from then on, I was going. I remember seeing her. I felt so much love for her. It felt better. I knew it was going to be very difficult for me in the state I was. My cut and stitch, everything was still fresh. The pain was massive. Getting into the car, I was always in pain, like so much pain. I couldn't work. We're going every single day. I think we missed only one day because I don't remember what happened, but there was only one day we missed. It felt like, man, it felt like so horrible. Like they said, the law is that they have to wait till she's complete 36 weeks. But my child was discharged just before she turned 36. I remember, every time we came to the hospital, the reports was good. There were no complications. All the things I was afraid of, none of it happened. I just kept on promising God that, I'm not going to hold back the testimony for what you've done for me, because I know that sometimes not everyone goes through the NICU and comes back, with a positive story. If you see my child, you would not even ever imagine that she went to the NICU. You would never guess that she was born preterm, So yeah, and then eventually she came home. And then the moment she came home, it hasn't been easy. I'm up all night. My husband is up as well. We're always up, and just the truth is that it's not easy. But I have this mindset in life that, if God allowed me to go through it, there's nobody I would have said, go and give the cross to that person, go and give the stress to that person, right? I had to embrace the fact that if God allowed me to be the one to have a child preterm, then so be it. I know He will provide me the grace to be able to carry everything to the end. I'm going to be using this pencil that Mirak sent me, the blue eyeliner. Let's see how it looks. So eventually, now we are digging it, and my baby is doing so well. Trust me, like I said, if you see her, you would never guess. She's like an epitome of beauty. She's an epitome of everything good. And now to the main reason why I made this video. I wanted to be able to share the biggest lessons I learned in this last few days. Number one lesson I would say will be, which is the biggest lesson, is that even in the midst of everything you're going through, God sees you. God knows that you're going through those things. He hears you. And sometimes it may feel as though He's not doing anything. I remember the days I was asking God, are you even there? Like, I was going through so much that I was just like, God, are you there? Are you really there? If you're really there, do this. I was so sick from the engorgement, and I was asking God, how can you, after the relationship I've built with you, how can you even allow me be in this amount of pain? How can you even be okay with allowing me be in this amount of pain? And I remember reading a part of the Bible where it reminded me that the fact that you're a Christian, the fact that you worship God, does not mean that you're not going to go through stuff. It does not mean that things are not going to happen to you. But you need to understand that if God allowed it, then it's for a reason, right? He knows. He's the Almighty. He's the one that knows everything. He knows the beginning and the end. He knows the reason why He could have allowed my child to stay full time, but He didn't want that. He knows best. Maybe someday He will reveal the reason to me, but until then, I'm going to trust in His divine wisdom. God will never leave you, right? No matter how bad the situation gets, He would never leave you. You would always see the light at the end of the tunnel, right? Someday you're going to look back and you're going to be like, God, now I know why you allowed me go through that. And remember that what they say, that God sends, God allows His strongest soldiers to go through the toughest battles. Yes, nobody likes to hear that, but if God is putting you through something and allowing you to go through things, maybe He also wants you to share your story so that you're the reason why another person will feel motivated, the need to keep going. I'm going to be using this Soprosilic setting spray, fixing spray rather. And looking back now, I am so grateful that it was you know, that I went through that and we came out strong. My baby is doing very well. There's not been any complications whatsoever. She's doing very well, and God is good. God will always be God. God will never leave me. And it's just a reminder, and I'm also using that opportunity to remind you that whatever it is that you're going through, you should just need to learn to trust God and let everything be, right? Just, you know, remind yourself that if God promised to be with you, he will not leave you when you need him the most. I know that some situations make it so hard for us to believe in all of these things, but the truth is that if you really know the God that you serve, trust me, he will never leave you nor forsake you. And also, I want to use this as a point of contact to every mom, every woman who desires to have a child, and I'm genuinely praying for you guys. And through this journey, I did make very intentional prayers for every woman who desires to have a child. I remember the days when I would just tell God, I'm not asking for any favors for myself. I'm just asking that you do this and use it to bless the women who are also trusting you for a child. And you guys would not have kids go through what my child went through, and you will not go through what I went through. And I'm praying that God also blesses and opens doors for you to have as many children as you want. So I'm just so grateful, and like I promised God, I've kept my own end of the bargain. And yeah, so those who follow my other channel, Connect with Gigi, I'll be sharing more on that channel, the biggest spiritual lessons and how this experience has helped to also transform me spiritually, my relationship with God and everything. And I'll see you guys there. And if you want to join us there, the channel will pop on your screen. And I hope you guys enjoyed this session, and I'll definitely be seeing you guys very much more often from now on. Thank you for watching to the end, and if you made it to the end, you guys know I appreciate you. If you haven't already subscribed, please consider subscribing. It will mean a lot to me, and it's absolutely free. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and leave a comment. Let me know your biggest takeaway and any challenge that you've been through that God saw you through.